Hey humans, welcome to Read to Me, Matt Dunn. I'm Matt Dunn, and this is Isabel, and this is Gamora. They both want to be in the video today, so let's see what we can do. Anyway, Isabel, come on up, come on. She's crazy, she'll do it too. Come on. All right. Kind of big, but you know, we can do it. All right. We're gonna need Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. We are on chapter 21. And it's getting pretty weird, right? Awkwardness. So much awkwardness. The discussion of Mr. Collins' offer was now nearly at an end, and Elizabeth had only to suffer from the uncomfortable feeling necessarily attending it, and occasionally from some peevish allusion of her mother. As for the gentleman himself, his feelings were chiefly expressed not by embarrassment or dejection, or by trying to avoid her, but by stiffness of manner and resentful silence. Boopity doop. He scarcely ever spoke to her, and the assiduous attentions which he had been so sensible of himself were transferred for the rest of the day to Miss Lucas. Get out of here, get out of here. She's crazy. She likes my face. She's also curious about burps, like, what'd you eat? What was in there? She's weird. Yeah, you're weird. Whose civility is in Miss Lucas, whose civility in listening to him was seasonable relief to them all, and especially to her friend. The morrow produced no abatement of Mrs. Bennet's ill humor or ill death. Mr. Collins was also in the same state of angry pride. Elizabeth had hoped that his resentment might shorten his visit, but his plan did not appear in the least affected by it. He was always to have gone on Saturday, and to Saturday he still meant to stay. After breakfast, the girls walked to Meryton to inquire if Mr. Wickham were returned, and to lament over his absence from the Netherfield ball. He joined them on their entering the town and attended them to their aunt's, where his regret and vexation and the concern of everybody was well talked over. To Elizabeth, however, he voluntarily acknowledged that the necessity of his absence had been self-imposed. 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 Gamora, self-imposed. Jealous? 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 You want some of this? 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 Yeah, yeah. I found, said he. As the time drew near, I had better not meet Mr. Darcy, that to be in the same room, the same party, with him for so many hours, so many hours together, might be more than I could bear, and that scenes might arise unpleasant to more than myself. Isabel just didn't want to be involved anymore. She actually does not like Pride and Prejudice. She says she read it, but it just not to her taste, you know? She likes some little bit more slapsticky, you know? And not enough tennis balls or chew toys, really, or bacon, to be honest. She highly approved his forbearance, and they had leisure for a full discussion of it. And for all the commendation words which they civilly bestowed on each other as Wickham and another. Oh my God, they split up the word and now. Okay. You may be watching this and saying, I really don't think this guy can read. And you're right. You are making a correct assumption. I'm looking at the words and yet my mouth says something else. Like, bestowed. And of course it's probably bestowed. To bestow, bestowed, bestuli. And for the commendations which the civilly bestowed on each other. Bestowed. Now I don't know what it is. Bestowed. Be like bestrode. On the other side, as Wickham and another officer walked back with them to Longbourn, and during the walk he particularly attended to her. His accompanying them was a double advantage. She felt all the compliment it offered to herself, and it was most acceptable as an occasion of introducing him to her father and mother. Soon after their return, a letter was delivered to Miss Bennet. It came from Netherfield, and was opened immediately. The envelope contained a sheet of elegant, little, hot-pressed paper, well covered with a lady's fair, flowing hand. And Elizabeth saw her sister's countenance change as she read it, and saw her dwelling intently on some peculiar passages. Jane recollected herself soon, and putting the letter away, tried to join with her usual cheerfulness in the general conversation. But Elizabeth felt an anxiety on the subject which drew her attention even from Wickham. And no sooner had he and his companion taken leave than a glance from Jane invited her to follow her upstairs. When they had gained their own room, Jane, taking out her letter, said, "This is from Caroline Bingley. What it contains has surprised me a good deal. The whole party have left Netherfield by this time, and are on their way to town, and without any intention of coming back again. You shall hear what she says." Okay. She then read the first sentence aloud, which comprised the information of their having just resolved to follow their brother to town directly, and of their meaning to dine that day in Grosvenor Street, where Mr. Hurst had a house. The next was in these words: "I do not pretend to regret anything. I shall leave in Hertfordshire, accept your society, my dearest friend, but we will hope at some future period to enjoy many returns of that delightful intercourse we have known, and in the meanwhile may lessen the pain of separation by a very frequent and most unreserved correspondence. I depend on you for that." So this Bingley dude left town? Left Jane behind? What's up? They didn't like her? It was probably the family. Oh, shitty McShit stains. All right. To these high-flown expressions, Elizabeth listened with all the insensibility of distrust, and though the suddenness of their removal surprised her, she saw nothing in it really to lament. It was not to be supposed that their absence from Netherfield would prevent Mr. Bingley being there, and as to the loss of their society, she was persuaded that Jane must soon cease to regard it in the enjoyment of his. I don't know. I guess the someone died? That's right, someone died. Who was it? It was blah 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 Mrs. Bennet. No one died. Who died? No one died. I'm crazy, right? Crazy. Making stuff in my head. I do that. It is unlucky, she said, after a short pause, that you should not be able to see your friends before they leave the country. But may we not hope that the period of future happiness to which Miss Bingley looks forward may arrive earlier than she is aware, and that the delightful intercourse you have known as friends will be renewed with greater satisfaction as sisters. Mr. Bingley will not be detained in London by them. Not at all. Caroline decidedly says that none of the party will return into Hertfordshire this winter. I will read it to you. When my brother left us yesterday, he imagined that the business which took him to London might be concluded in 3 or 4 days. But as we are certain it cannot be so, and at the same time convinced that when Mr. Charles gets to town, he will be in no hurry to leave it again, we have determined on following him thither, that he may not be obliged to spend his vacant hours in a comfortless hotel. Many of my acquaintances are already there for the winter. I wish I could hear that you, my dearest friend, had an intention of making one in the crowd. But of that I despair. I sincerely hope your Christmas in Hertfordshire may abound in the gaieties which that season generally brings, and that your beaux will be so numerous as to prevent your feeling the loss of the 3 of whom we shall deprive you. It is evident by this, added Jane, that he comes back no more this winter. It is only evident that Miss Bingley does not mean he should. Why would you think so? It must be his own doing. He is his own master, but you do not know all. I will read you the passage which particularly hurts me. I will have no remorse from you. Oh, yeah, shut the fuck up, Elizabeth, and listen to the letter and stop making assumptions. God, you know all. That's why nobody likes you. You gotta shove shit in your face. Well, actually, are you supposed to like Elizabeth? Because she's getting on my last nerve. Mr. Darcy is impatient to see his sister, and to confess the truth, we are scarcely less eager to meet her again. I really do not think Georgina Darcy has her equal for beauty, elegance, and accomplishments, and the affection she inspires in Louisa and myself is heightened into something still more interesting from the hope we dare to entertain of her being hereafter our sister. I do not know whether I ever before mentioned to you in my feelings on this subject, but I will not leave the country without confiding them, and I trust you will not esteem them unreasonably. My brother admires her greatly already. He will have frequent opportunity now of seeing her on the most intimate footing. Her relations all wish the connection as much as his own, and a sister's partiality is not misleading me. I think when I call Charles most capable of engaging any woman's heart, with all these circumstances to favor an attachment and nothing to prevent it, am I wrong, my dearest Jane, in indulging the hope of an event which will secure the happiness of so many? What think you of this sentence, my dear Lizzie? Said Jane as she finished it. In your fucking face. Wait, there's more. Is it not clear enough? Does it not expressly declare that Caroline neither expects nor wishes me to be her sister, that she is perfectly convinced of her brother's indifference, and that if she suspects the nature of my feelings for him, she means most kindly to put me on my guard? Can there be any other opinion on the subject? Yes, there can. For mine is totally different. Will you hear it? Oh my God. Give up, Elizabeth. Jeez. Huh. Most willingly. You shall have it in a few words. Miss Bingley sees that her brother is in love with you and wants him to marry Miss Darcy. She follows him to town in the hope of keeping him there, and tries to persuade persuade you that he does not care about you. Jane shook her head. No, 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 it's plain as day. God damn it. Oh, but Elizabeth is seeing the brighter side. This does make sense. It is possible. People are vindictive. We haven't heard from Wilkinson, or whatever his name is, Wilkinberry, or Workson, Wilkins. That's it. Jane shook her head. Indeed, Jane, you ought to believe me. No one who has ever seen you together can doubt his affection. Miss Bingley, I am sure, cannot. She is not such a simpleton. Could she have seen half as much love in Mr. Darcy for herself, she would have ordered her wedding clothes. But the case is this. We are not rich enough or grand enough for them. And she is the more anxious to get Miss Darcy for her brother, from the notion that when there has been one intermarriage, she may have less trouble in achieving a second, in which there is certainly some ingenuity. And I dare say it would succeed if Miss de Bourgh were out of the way. But my dearest Jane, you cannot seriously imagine that because Miss Bingley tells you her brother greatly admires Miss Darcy, he is in the smallest degree less sensible of your merit than when he took leave of you on Tuesday, or that it will be in her power to persuade him that instead of being in love with you, he is very much in love with her friend. Evil, conniving bitches. That's what this is. She's just like, I'm going to get my brother to marry someone else because I don't like you. Is that really how it is, though? Or is this dude a trash-talking slut bag? Is he, like, playing the field? How do we find out? Let's continue. That is right. You could not have started a more happy idea, since you will not take comfort in mine. No, I skipped a paragraph. This is Jane now. If we thought alike of Miss Bingley, replied Jane, your representation of all this might make me quite easy. But I know the foundation is unjust. Caroline is incapable of willfully deceiving anyone. And all that I can hope in this case is that she is deceived herself. True. That is right. You could not have started a more happy idea, since you will not take comfort in mine. Believe her to be deceived by all means. You have now done your duty by her and must fret no longer. Okay, she thinks about it. Yeah, okay, yeah, all right, I'll give you that. Now you're just arguing, and then you're backpedaling, and then you're just like making it seem like we're both winning. What are you doing? Really? But my dear sister, can I be happy, even supposing the best, in accepting a man whose sisters and friends are all wishing him to marry elsewhere? Oh, how can I marry this man when everyone known in the family wants me? Oh, what is this? What is this? Fucking Romeo and Juliet? Come on. You must decide for yourself, said Elizabeth, and if upon mature deliberation you find that the misery of disobligating his two sisters is more than equivalent to the happiness of being his wife, I advise you by all means to refuse him. Elizabeth, you sly slinger, you. Ho, ho, ho. You done good. You're really smart. You got me jumping all around. I love you. I hate you. I can't stand you. You're smart. You're cool. What books are you reading? You want to hang out? Fictional characters. I dig it. How can you talk so? Said Jane, faintly smiling. faintly smiling. She smiled like this. You must know that that though I should be exceedingly grieved at their disapprobation, I could not hesitate. I cannot and could not and will not hesitate. I did not think you would. And that being the case, oh, this is Elizabeth now, different face. I didn't think you would. And that being the case, I cannot consider your situation with much compassion. I don't even care what you read in letters anymore. I don't care. I got my own shit to think about. But if he returns no more this winter, my choice will never be required. 1,000 things may arise in 6 months. That's true. 6 months is a long time when you're all alone. The idea of his returning no more Elizabeth treated with the utmost contempt. It appears to her merely the suggestion of Caroline's interested wishes, and she could not for a moment suppose that those wishes, however openly or artfully spoken, could influence a young man so totally independent of everyone. She represented to her sister as forcibly as possible what she felt on the subject, and had soon the pleasure of seeing its happy effect. Jane's temper was now desponding, and she was gradually led to hope, though the difference of affection sometimes overcame the hope, that Bingley would return to Netherfield and answer every wish of her heart. She's dead. No, she's not dead. They agreed that Mrs. Bennet should only hear of the departure of the family, without being alarmed on the score of the gentleman's conduct. But even this partial communication gave her a great deal of concern, and she bewailed it as exceedingly unlucky that the ladies should happen to go away just as they were all getting so intimate together. After lamenting it, however, at some length, she had the consolation of thinking that Mr. Bingley would be soon down and soon dining at Longbourn. And the conclusion of all was the comfortable declaration that though he had been invited only to a family dinner, she would take care to have 2 full courses. Now let's think about that last sentence. This is the last sentence. She would take care to have 2 full courses. What do you think that means? Metaphorical? Is she speaking in a theoretical sense where she... No, that's not theoretical. I'm just making up words now. How about mathematical? She's definitely speaking mathematical. 2! Did you hear that? 2 courses. Not 1, but 2. You cannot deny my hypothetical geological discourse statement. Can you? If you can, comment down below. I dare you. Dareth you I. Anyway, that was chapter 21. Thank you for joining me. That was a really good chapter. Pretty cool. Really jazzy suspense. Oh, he's gonna love me. No, he's not. Okay. Yeah, no. People change their minds. Remember, Mondays and Tuesdays, I am going to be premiering my videos, and I shall be there to watch these babies go public. And then if you would wish to join me and watch it go public, that's noon Eastern time on the United States coast. Please tell me what time it is for you, and maybe that'd be cool to know, right? What time is it when I go public? Anyway, if you like this video, please check out some more of my videos. I have so many more. And give me a thumbs up if you like. Push the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed. If you made it this far, I thank you. It's pretty sweet. Hopefully we can talk and get to know each other, because it's like I already know you. All right? All right, guys. I'll be seeing you. Stay weird.